Hey guys, I know we've been gone a really long time, and that's because we decided to sell the boat and get back to regular life. Just kidding, we're still completely rebuilding this abandoned sailboat in order to make it our home, so help me God. This is Luke, and I'm Lori, and we're still working hard to get this boat back in the water. So if you're rooting for us, you know what I'm gonna say next. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, and ring that bell. It's a totally free way to keep the journey alive. Let's get caught up. This week, we're working on the galley again. Here's the recap. This is what it used to look like. This is when we ripped it all apart. This is when we ripped everything else apart. This is when we thought, oh crap, we can't turn back now. So we put it all back together, blasted it with some sand, threw some paint on it, and called it a day. I wish. No, then we spent what seemed like an eternity dreaming up the perfect galley, only for it not to work out. That's where we are starting our story back up today. The Galley, Part 2. We've moved around a lot in the last few years, and we've mostly been living in these compact apartments where space has been a commodity. Because of the restrictions, we've always had to make do with this tiny little frigobar for our fridge for one reason or another. But enough is enough. I'm very happy to say that in this boat, we are upgrading. The struggle is real when you're trying to keep food for 2 grown adults in a college-sized fridge. Therefore, the goal is to fit a 90-liter 12-volt RV fridge in our galley for the most luxurious kitchen living that we've had since before I can remember, despite still living in a very small space. We're still saving up for that dream fridge, so this cardboard box will have to do for now. As you've seen previously, we've already created the structure of the galley using the CNC, but it wasn't cutting it. Excuse the pun. Without scanning the space for perfect measurements, the furniture just couldn't be fitted well, and there was a lot of dead space created. Since measuring and throwing it on the computer didn't meet the reality, we had to tackle it the old-fashioned way. We took our measurements of the pieces, like the refrigerator, and started to frame out the aft galley, trying to maximize the area. We needed to see if we could refit some of the pieces to fit correctly, or if we needed to start from scratch. Not really knowing where to start when it came to salvaging what had been built before, I decided that I'll try working from the bottom up, creating a level and strong kickboard and base for the cabinet. But I didn't really feel confident creating the finish where each section connected based on the previous work. Therefore, we decided to call in some help to make sure that we got it right. So instead of creating individual sections for each element in this nook, we went with making a panel in the front and just using the bulkheads as structure, which not only cut down on unnecessary weight, but will also make the fridge look embedded in the wall for a really nice custom appearance. So who's our new mystery builder, you might ask? Please give a warm welcome to our newest member of the LAHAKAI crew.
Meu nome é Sérgio. Não consegui fazer isso.
He's a little camera shy.
Trabalho na marcenaria naval há 25 anos.
That's right, he's been building boats for 25 years. Not just building furniture, but building wood boats and boat interiors from the bottom to the top for a good part of a lifetime. And He's going to be helping Luke and I finish our wood interior. As you know, this boat is baptism by fire. But fearlessly, Sergio jumped right in, and just in the nick of time. We've been feeling really burnt out with all of the complexities and decision making. This boat is not short of weird angles and spaces, and in order to make the cabin feel as spacious as possible, we pushed the cabinets way back below the side deck. But that meant the back of our cabinets are sitting on the tapering aft the hull. Therefore, we had to come up with really creative ways to make this area usable space, including that pizza-shaped part left over in the foot of the galley. In the end, we were able to get a pretty decent amount of storage for food and all the necessities for cooking in our tiny little boat. We were even able to line up all of the wood grain for the doors, so we had this nice uniform look when they're closed. With the lower half out of the way, it was time to start working on the upper cabinets. This is the point in time when our team started to hit a nice flow. Sergio took point, planning, measuring, and installing, while Luke was his right-hand man, taking those measurements and cutting them out in the workshop. I myself am doing the filming, and I'm also working on another project that you'll see later on, taking Sergio's advice and putting it into practice. I gotta be honest, after a couple of months of feeling pretty down, overwhelmed, and out of luck, we started to feel like it was all possible again. We're keeping all of the beautiful wood grain looking continuous. And if you're sharp, you might be saying, "Hey Laurie, I noticed that the bottom grain is horizontal and the top cabinets are vertical. How could you?" Well, there is method behind our madness, so don't you worry your little head. Our longer, lower areas of wood are all horizontal to make the most of the plywood panels. And when it comes to our tall bulkheads in the aft that will have wood grain as well, we needed them to be vertical so they didn't have a break in the wall. These upper cabinets happen to wrap around and join with that bulkhead, so the grain needs to be vertical. However, they will have the countertop in the middle, breaking up the change in direction. So we hope you will be so pleased with the design that you won't even notice that little tiny detail when we're done. Tell you what, forget I even mentioned it. It's not even there. Another thing that I'm not going to mention ever again are these buttons. The ones that I purchased for these doors are 18 millimeters deep, while our doors are only 15. A small detail that I overlooked when I put them in my cart. So I'm simply going to pretend that 50 millimeter buttons don't exist. And I will laugh at any comment that implies they do, because they don't. This is the only way I can justify the guys spending another hour making 40 pieces of 3 millimeter spaces by tying each button for them to work properly. It is not my fault. It is definitely the manufacturer's. What do you think?
Super good.
Hey guys, what do you think of our work so far? This is all of our upper cabinets in our galley. Now, there are some little adjustments we're gonna make, but we're gonna leave them for later because we're gonna take this all out right now, send it to get edge banded, and then also get painted. So we're gonna have to adjust it all over again. And once it goes into the water, we're probably gonna have to adjust it again. So it's looking good the way it is. We need to put one more button here to call it a day, but then we're moving on to the lower half of our cabinet areas. So I hope you like it. I'm so happy to be back on the channel, and we're really glad that you can see all of the stuff that we've been working on behind the scenes. We know we've been gone for a long time now. If you do want to keep up to date with everything that we've been doing despite not having videos, please join us on Patreon, where you can support our projects, support our channel, and see all of the exclusive stuff that you might not be seeing here on YouTube. We hope to see you there, and we'll definitely see you next week. At least we hope to see you next week. Our computer is still broken, can you believe it? But we're pushing through, and we're gonna finish this boat. Bye.